Welcome to my channel where I help you and others find the light within through channeled messages and through sharing my own experience here on this channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about how you can take control of your own health. In a later video, I'll talk about how important this is, meaning how health truly is equivalent to how wealthy you are and feel in this lifetime. In most cases, I will say that this is very crucial and important to do. I'm not saying that, all physicians are bad by any means necessary. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that they're really helpful when it comes to treating traumatic instances. They're really helpful in emergency cases, and they're really helpful in treating end-stage diseases, as well as being a supplement to any sort of natural practices that you might want to implement in your own life. I will say the basis of this video is to help you understand how you can be preventative versus being reactive. So I feel as though our medical system today is really focused on reaction and really just looking at the symptoms and not the person as a whole, which can then lead to more symptoms down the line. So you're then stuck in this vicious cycle of one symptom popping up because of another. And this is a lot to do with, as I mentioned, not looking at the body as a whole and not really understanding the entire individual before making certain prescriptions or diagnosis or treatments that could potentially have a more harmful effect on the individual much later down the line. So just to dispel all of those things, I do believe that there is a need for physicians. However, I think that we should focus on being more preventative than reactive in our own health and for others as well. So now I want to focus in on a few things that might affect our ability to really hone in on our own health and stop for a moment and take inventory of how we're truly feeling. We live in such a busy society that includes a lot of responsibilities, such as our work. School for some people can be very, very stressful. A lot of people have children and they can't seem to figure out how to find the time to even begin to learn about any of these things, yet alone even watch this video. So I made another video, short and sweet, on how you can begin to make more time for yourself, because this is crucial. And I am saying this, if you have children, it's even more crucial, because I can only imagine how limited you already feel in time. Next, we have relationships. Not every relationship is flowers and daisies, or, not every relationship helps us elevate to be the best we can be, which to me is the point of a relationship or a physical connection here in this lifetime, is to help elevate each other. Not everyone is fortunate to have those types of relationships. There may be other circumstances that are keeping you in certain relationships that don't do that, or you both may be just on your own growth or healing journey, and eventually the goal will be to get to a point where you're both elevating each other. All of those can contribute to us feeling as though we have so much on our plates, therefore taking our attention away from recognizing what our body is trying to tell us. And in this next part of the video, I'm going to give you some factors or some things that will help you begin to recognize what your body needs and what it's telling you through various diseases or various mental ailments or physical ailments. So the first thing I want to talk about is awareness. How can we raise our awareness so that we can truly understand when our body is out of alignment? We can feel these subtle changes. This looks like, waking up one morning and you're like, oh, I have a splitting headache, but I've had this headache for the past week. Like, something must be wrong. So this is where the awareness comes in, because what most people will do is they'll just continue their daily routine, not really recognizing the effects that this headache is having on not only their cognitive abilities, but the rest of their bodily function. Some ways that you can raise awareness can be through meditation. I've talked extensively about the benefits of meditation and why this is something that can help not only slow the thinking process, but help you become aware of your thoughts. This in turn works when you are trying to become aware of your body and when things are off. Yoga is a great way to become connected with your body because as you're doing each asana, you're really putting a lot of attention into the way that your body flows. You're paying attention to any blockages or any pain that you might be feeling and really focusing in on removing those blockages. Yoga has so many other benefits, and I'll be making more videos on the benefits of that when it comes to taking control of your own health, but that's a great start. Any form of exercise really is going to help you become more aware of your body. In addition to becoming aware through exercise, you'll also be helping yourself as you're exercising. So it's kind of one of those things where you're killing two birds with one stone. Awareness also allows you to take a zoomed out look of your day-to-day life, whereas most people, as I mentioned, are so caught up in the little things and the day-to-day activities, and they're really only thinking from one experience to the next. And these experiences may not be the experiences that they want to have. So what this looks like is just going with the motions. When you're just going with the motions, you forget to zoom out and take a look at the bigger picture. I got this analogy from a friend, so I thought it made so much sense that I had to put it in the video, but basically this is what's happening. A lot of people get caught up in their day-to-day routine, their day-to-day life, their day-to-day stresses, that they fail to look at the fact that this is affecting their body and their health and their mental health as well. You'll start to recognize your emotions. Emotions play a huge part in our the health of our body as well. A lot of people don't recognize that sometimes suppressed emotions, or sometimes anger, sadness, joy, even joy and grief can essentially create sort of symptoms in our body that we would attribute to something else. In Western medicine, they would call something like in Western medicine, they would typically take the symptoms that have been created from certain emotions that have built up over time and call it, I don't know, some crazy Western terminology, when in reality, it's just, if we were to be able to take a brief second to understand what emotions we've been feeling, maybe they happened a long time ago, or maybe they're emotions that were recently brought up. You want to be able to eventually get to a point where you can kind of analyze yourself and determine what emotions you're feeling in the moment, because that can have a huge effect on whatever is physically manifesting for you. The next thing I want to talk about is your lifestyle and your habits. This plays a huge part in improving your health and becoming aware of where you stand in that spectrum. A sedentary lifestyle, I'm just going to be honest, it leads to sickness. If you're not up and moving, if you're not getting some vitamin D, if you're not in the sun, if you're not active, if you're just going from home to work, to bed, to eating, or whatever the order is, you are not moving as much as we are meant to move. We're meant to move each part of our body every single day. So this is why exercise is so important. This is why things such as yoga can be really beneficial to becoming aware of when you are stagnated or when there are any sort of blockages. Your diet is so important. I could talk for hours on why this is one of the biggest factors as to how you can take control of your health. If you're eating crappy foods, let's be honest, you're gonna feel crappy. You are what you eat, and food is our medicine. So you want to make sure that you're removing as much processed foods as possible. If you can remove all processed foods, please do. I understand that finances can be a factor in why most people feel as though they can't take control of their health, and this plays directly into our diets. But you can, and I promise you, if you do enough, you don't even have to do that much research, but if you do just a little bit of research, you can find foods and healthier options for the same price, if not cheaper. I recommend going to local farmers markets, finding out where the nearest one is to you, and really, really taking this one as seriously as you can, because this alone has the ability to improve so many things that we aren't aware of. And the beautiful thing is that once you clean up your diet, you'll begin to experience more vitality. You'll be able to do and have energy for a lot of the things that you've been wanting to do for a really long time. And again, this isn't the only thing that's going to help you become a healthier individual, but it does play a huge part. Next, we have our consumptions. I've also made videos on this, but essentially, are you partying all the time? Are you drinking all the time? Are you coming home and just watching TV all night? Are you stuck in this constant cycle of just basically letting life happen to you versus you happening to life? What choices are you making to make sure that you are participating in the right activities and experiences to help make you become a healthier individual? And then lastly, I wanted to talk about spiritual practices. No matter what your religion is or what you believe in or any of that, just having some sort of spiritual practice to help align you and help you understand kind of like a baseline of what it is to be healthy. This could even also be a philosophical ideology that you believe in. It doesn't necessarily have to be a spiritual practice or a religion. You just have to have some sort of basis and foundation for what you believe to be morally right and what you believe to be the ideal image of what it is to be a healthy person or a healthy individual. All right, now that I've broken down some factors of what you can implement right away to help improve your health, I then want to talk about some ways that you can self-diagnose. You want to be able to notice that something is off so that you can then take the proper steps that I mentioned previously and begin to implement them in your life. All of these that I am going to mention, I want you to go and do your own research, because for me personally, they've made such a huge impact in my life, but it did take me several months of researching, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit of a fanatic, so I have gone very deep into each one of these subjects. But just for the everyday person looking to just improve their health, and potentially, hopefully, your family, your spouse, etc., your friends, whoever you want to share this information with, I encourage you to take what I'm saying, digest it, but then also to go and do your own research. Just having the basic knowledge of each one of these things will really help you when it comes to identifying things that you need to take control of. So the first thing I'll talk about is tongue diagnosis. So in traditional Chinese medicine and many other holistic practices, they believe that the tongue is the true indication of everything that's going on within the body. If you just Google simple articles, or if you would like to invest in some books on tongue diagnosis, you are going to discover so much under the surface that you're going to begin to feel like, why haven't we been taught this all along? Like, why didn't we know this? The thing is, we did, but at some point we forgot. So now it's up to us to remember. The great thing about tongue diagnosis is that I've done a few clinical observations myself, and this has proven to be true again and again. It's a very precise system to help you understand which one of our organ systems are off, where any issues might lie, so then you can take the proper preventative measures to avoid it from getting out of hand. The next we have is face diagnosis. I've seen a lot of natural practitioners utilize this form of diagnosis. There are so many articles and so many books on this one alone as well. Basically, you want to be able to eventually look at yourself in the mirror and start at the forehead, go down to the above the eyebrows, the eyelids, eyeballs, the eye coloration, below the eyes, your nose, upper lip, your cheeks, your chin, and so many other things that I haven't mentioned, but each one of those facial features has an indication as to what is going on with the rest of the body. For example, dark Dark circles below the eyelids is a clear indication of kidney function, whereas coloration of the eye is a clear indication of liver function. So if we see yellow eyes, we know that someone is having a serious issue with their liver. And that leads me to organ functions. So I recommend that you do a little bit of research into what each of the organs represent from a Eastern perspective as well as a Western perspective. With the Eastern perspective, specifically Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine, you'll find that each organ has a specific function and it also is related to a specific emotion. So this is where I mentioned earlier in the video that you want to be able to be aware of your emotions at all times, because that could be a clear indication as to any sort of imbalances within your organ systems and organ functions. For example, if you're super angry, you're really irritable, and you're just you're mad at the world, basically, this is a clear indication of your liver being out of balance. So now, going into my last point on how you can take everything that I've mentioned and really begin to make changes. I've already alluded to this as well, which is food being medicine. So let's go with the liver example. If you feel angry and irritated and you just feel like you have this weight on your chest, this could be a clear indication of liver qi stagnation or imbalances in your liver. And using food as medicine, you can then, after you've self-diagnosed or done some research and also have gotten the opinion of some practitioners of holistic or natural medicine, you can then take it into your own hands to get your body back to equilibrium. So some things that I would look into once we've gotten that through that self-diagnosis phase and we've really done research into that is simply Googling things such as foods that will help my liver function. That is how easy it is. And then as you start incorporating this more into your routine and more into your daily life, you'll begin to realize that it becomes a habit and it becomes second nature. And as you're brushing your teeth, you're checking your tongue and you notice that, for example, your kidney is looking a little funky and you have some swelling there. You want to be able to go and then take that information and find the proper foods, maybe even herbs, whatever method you want to choose. It all really starts with being aware and knowing how to then go from there. This is a lot of information, and I really hope that this all makes sense. I will be breaking down each part extensively over the course of many, many months, but this is kind of like a taste as to how you can begin to get started in taking control of your own health. I promise you, in a few years, maybe even in a few months, this information is going to become so valuable, because a lot of people are going to wonder how can they begin to take control of their life, because we're going to start to recognize that we cannot put this sort of power into the hands of other individuals who don't truly understand us as individuals, who we are. Because we're all so unique, it's important that we take the time to know ourselves. This is where I say, the key is to know thyself. And when you know thyself, you no longer are subject to someone else telling you who you are. I hope that makes sense, and I hope this helped someone out there. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to place those in the comment section down below. I cannot wait to share more information on personal health and just finding the light within.